Hi, guys. This is Dr. Pam, owner of Academic Coaching for World Changers. And if you're watching this video, you must be interested in who we are and what we do. So, we have a couple of boot camps coming up. Our NCE boot camp we offer once a month because that's the largest population that we have. Our social work boot camp we offer about every 3 months. We also offer a drug and alcohol testing boot camp. We also offer an NCHMCE boot camp. But if you're watching this video, you're like, what the heck is the boot camp, Dr. Bam? And why would I spend money to meet with you? A couple of the reasons is a boot camp is really overall about 4 hours of test questions. It really is. All of you that want to take test questions all day, every day, and that's how you think you pass. That's what we do. However, what makes us different is we're going to understand why it's the right answer and why it's not the right answer. We don't care if you get it right. We care if you learn the content behind all of those questions. So, no matter what test you're taking, and we definitely tailor each of those boot camps to a specific test, but there are some things that are very common to each boot camp. There are things that are very common to each test. Freud is Freud is Freud. I don't care whether you're taking the drug and alcohol, whether you're taking the EPPP, you're taking the NCE, the CPCE. Freud is Freud. In his developmental stages, he talks about sex, baby, and everything other than that treatment is about the unconscious, bringing the unconscious to the conscious. He talked about projection, right? You're projecting on the test. That's the Rorschach or the TAT, the thematic apperception test, because that's Freud's theory. I've been tutoring this. I've owned this business for about 10 years. I've been a college professor for over 15 years, and I have been a clinical therapist for 30 plus years. I look like I'm 12, right? Yeah, I got it. But anyway, I'm an expert in this field. We do tons and tons of research. We don't pull questions out of the air, and we will challenge other people's questions. If you're struggling to pass questions, we do have a app that we partner with, and that's Brainscape. If you reach out to my staff, drpam2020 at gmail.com, we'll give you the link. We've got the NCE, the CPC, and the LCSW is just about to be released. Give me some time, and everything else will be released. So let's look at a typical question. And again, this is what a boot camp would look like. So if you're unsure, we're going to try to cover all of the major domains, no matter what test you're taking. We're going to cover them in questions and explain why it's the right answer. A clinician receives a social media request from a former client 6 months after termination. The most ethical response would be. Now, when I'm thinking about this test, it's only been 6 months. It's only been 6 months. It's only been 6 months. Social workers, we can never be friends with the client. My LPC, my NCE, and most other clients talk about 5 years. If you're a psychologist, it's 2 years. Okay. But it's 6 months. This is a code of ethics questions that so many people struggle with. What I hear all the time is, oh my gosh, I don't want them to see my social media. I don't want them to be all in my stuff. There's not one test question that ever cares about you. Sorry. No. It's not about you. Every test question is about the client. What's best for the client? I don't have the right without a release to go into their social media unless it's an emergency. I've tutored a couple of people that have worked in emergency social workers. They've worked in the emergency room and some therapists, some LPCs as well. So I definitely recall many stories where working in the emergency room, the client comes in, they've had a horrible car accident, they're extremely disfigured, or they can't share with me anything, and I want to reach their next of kin because it's an emergency. I can take their name and I can put their name in Facebook or Instagram or Google search, and I can find out their next of kin because it's an emergency. But if it's not an emergency, I don't get the right to go through their social media. It's not about you, clinicians. I'm sorry, it's not about you. Every test question is about the client. So, what we teach is we're going to read all 4 questions and we're going to rule out. If you're taking the CPCE or sometimes on the LCSW, you may only have 3 questions, but we're still going to follow the same process. These are standardized test taking tips. We don't ever pretend to make you better clinicians. That is not my job. You're already a great clinician. You just have sucky test taking skills. Sorry. You got into grad school because you had a high GPA. Look at you. 4.0, 3.5. Yes, you did. But you have not learned how to study or how to pass a standardized test. You sucked on the ACT and the SAT and also the GRE. If this is not you, stop the video and go do something else. You're the ones that I see on Facebook that says I studied for 2 weeks and I passed the test. But that's not the majority of people. That's not the majority. The majority of people have an IQ that's off the chain. They've really never learned how to study. And that's what we do. We teach you how to study and how to answer test questions. So let's get back to my question. Okay. So the most ethical response, that means it's a code of ethics question. Accept the request to main report. B, decline and document the boundaries of therapeutic relationship. C, ignore the request without comment. Or D, respond with casual acknowledgement alone. Now, remember, therapists, your clients think you are the bomb diggity. I know that if you're new, you don't feel like you're the best, but for the test, you are the very best. They believe everything you tell them. They trust you. And I know you don't feel like it yet. And my seasoned professionals, you know you're good at what you do. Right? Don't change what you do. You're good at that. But that doesn't mean it's the best test answer. We're always going to rule out. That's what we teach. We rule out. I am not going to ignore the request without comment because then my client thinks, oh my gosh, my therapist doesn't like me. They don't care about me. In my informed consent, I really should have gone over the rules of outside of the session. I should have said to you, if I see you in a public environment, if I see you someplace, I am not going to, so I gotta get rid of that. If I see you in a public place, I'm not going to acknowledge you, right? If I see you in the grocery store, I'm not going to acknowledge you. If you acknowledge me first, I will say hi, but I'm not going to go up in the middle of the Walmart and say, oh, hey, how you doing? How you working on being clean? For me and many of my clients that I teach, it's the opposite. I have to teach my clients to not do that. I was the Girl Scout leader, and we'd be at the grocery store and selling Girl Scout cookies. And I'd have a former client come in and say, yo, Dr. Pam, let me talk to you. I'm still clean. My little kids did not need to hear that. My own children and my Girl Scouts did not need to hear that. So I'm very clear about boundaries. That response is like, I'm proud of you. Talk to me on Monday. Send me an email, but not in public. And again, it's not about me. It's about what's best for the client. So I'm not going to ignore it because then the clients think, oh my gosh, you don't like me. And God forbid you have a borderline because she's going to take that off the chain. So B is out. Respond with casual acknowledgement only. Let me keep that in for a minute. Accept the request to maintain rapport. No. I know everything about the client. They know nothing about me. They've told me about their baby mama, how their mama raised them, how their daddy abused them, how their play cousin had sex with them. No, 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 no. We are not friends. We're not buddies. No. And if you're taking the drug and alcohol test, y'all are the biggest issues with boundaries, because many times y'all is a southern term, because I live in Georgia, I live in Tennessee. I did not use that verbiage before I lived in the South. You all, but y'all is a southern term. Y'all got the most issues with boundaries, because many times my drug and alcohol users believe my drug and alcohol therapists want to talk to the clients. They want to share how you got clean, and you want to bring it forward. And you want to say, oh, this is how I got clean. This is the only way to get clean. Mm-mm-mm. That's a whole different video. Okay. So now between B and D, do I respond with a casual acknowledgement only? Or do I decline and document the boundaries of the therapeutic relationship? When I get down to two, this is a code of ethics question. I don't care what you do in your agency. The test doesn't ask you what you do. This is the same, exact same question that everybody gets. Let go of you. Unless you see your agency, your name in this question, we don't care. All that matters is what is the code of ethics says. A clinician receives a social media request from a former client 6 months after termination. That's a very, very short timeline. If it said 5 years, it said 10 years, that would change the answer. I'm not going to respond to them. I'm going to decline and document the boundaries. I know. What? They're going to think I hate them. They're a former client. They're not a current client. They're a former client. I'm going to document that they reached out to me, and I'm going to document the boundaries. We aren't buddies. We aren't pals. And I know that my clients think we're cool. They think we're buddy because they told me everything about them, and they know nothing about me. If I respond, that's going to give them a belief that we are or have a relationship. If it's a current client, that's a much better answer, because they come in the next time and I'm going to say, hey, remember the therapeutic relationship, remember the boundaries. But this particular question says it's a former client. If you struggle with this question, if you weren't sure how you got here, you probably need to spend some time with us. Remember our boot camps. We've got an NCE boot camp coming up. I think it's Friday, 11/7. Think so. We have a social work boot camp, and we also offer boot camps for other people. It's only about questions. It's learning how to answer the questions and learning what content is behind the questions. Please stop buying material. Please stop buying every book in the world. Just let me teach you. You're worth the time. You're worth the investment. I hope I see you in a live session very, very soon. Bye, guys.